If you're planning on borrowing money
Mm.
from a major purchase, maybe you're going to downsize, but you want to get a mortgage. Maybe you're going to go buy a car. Something that requires some sort of bank financing. It is far easier to get a loan when you have a W-2 paycheck versus when you're living off your brokerage account.
Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to Upticks with Jake and Cory. Cory, welcome back to the show.
Jake, thank you for having me.
Cory, our topic today could literally change somebody's life.
I think so too.
It could drastically change their retirement trajectory, when they retire, what they do before they retire. So this may be one of the most important episodes we've ever done for somebody at or near retirement. What do you think about that?
I think the people are listening, Jake. They're dialed in now. They're ready to hear it. I agree with you.
Let's dive into it. We also wanted to change. We'll bring up some personal items here later, Cory, but I want to play ball. I want to get into this topic because, like I said, if it's that powerful, we shouldn't be delaying it.
I agree.
All right, Cory. So our topic is 5 things to buy before you retire. Or do you? So, Cory, as the permanent guest on my show, I'm going to give my courtesy to you, and I'm going to let you kick us off. Start us off with number 1. It doesn't have to be the most important because who knows? Maybe our 4th one is most important, but I'll let you go first. What is the one thing someone should buy before they retire?
Professional relationships with a wealth advisor, with a CPA, and with an estate planning attorney.
You mean those aren't free, Cory?
No, unfortunately, they're not.
Those annuity salesmen,
because I guess you get what you pay for. But
those annuity salesmen will make you think it's free.
That's right. But that's the first thing.
Elaborate. All right. So you should buy professional relationships. Go a little deeper for me, please.
Yes. So working with a fiduciary wealth advisor, really to map out your retirement plan, what your cash flow looks like, what your goals look like. Again, taking all of that information, Jake, that I think bounces around in a lot of people's heads before they retire, actually putting it on paper so you can really put a plan together, or put it in the cloud or on a screen, wherever you want to put it.
Right.
So you know what you need to do. But I also think that the same is true for taxes. And I say, buy the relationship. I really mean just make the investment in the relationship. Somebody transitioning into retirement, when your whole tax situation changes, when you're taking distributions from retirement accounts, the way your healthcare is impacted, et cetera, I think it makes a lot of sense to have that relationship. And the same is true for your estate. I think that those are boxes that people can check before they retire to give them the confidence and the conviction they need to be able to make that transition comfortably. But I think without a financial plan, without the professionals that you're going to need to probably lean on through retirement, it just is a recipe for a bit more stress. And I think that is almost overlooked in terms of what someone should invest in or buy before they retire.
Got it. So you say everybody, this isn't advice, but most people should have a wealth advisor. They should have an accountant that they like working with and they trust, and then an attorney to make sure their estate plan is taken care of before they retire. Good. That's a good start off that. So then what about the people that don't have those things?
I think that you should start with the financial plan before you make the decision to retire.
No. But what do you think about those? I'm not saying you to judge them, but what about the people that roll into retirement with no plan, no accountant? They're do-it-yourselfers. So they probably have a plan, but maybe it's a spreadsheet, maybe it's on the back of a napkin, maybe it's in their head.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to those people? Good luck, because it's tough. I do say good, and I don't mean that like in a negative way, but I just see the value that having those 3 professionals can potentially provide.
Yeah.
That it's very difficult for somebody to do it, all those things on their own, the right way, because it's 3 full-time jobs. Actually, it's not just 1; it's 3 full-time jobs doing that stuff.
I agree, Jake. I think though, in the spirit of your question, right? Like if someone is a do-it-yourselfer, what do you tell someone that if you are not going to hire professionals, right? If you're just going to sort of roll into retirement without a plan, I would encourage you to figure out how you're going to allocate and schedule the appropriate time to make sure that you're taking care of those obligations that you need to take care of to make sure that your financial well-being is taken care of.
Good, good. Just put it on your calendar. Yeah, because again, this is a
Yep.
little self-serving. You're
Sure.
saying,
I
hire
know.
me. You need to
Right.
hire me. So let's move on. So
I
that's
mean
number
it
one.
though. I mean, before someone retires, I sincerely believe that.
Good, good. All right. So number two, I'll kick us off with number two then, or not
Good.
kick us off. Keep rolling to number two. I think the thing you need to buy are doctor's appointments.
Mm.
So again, not that you won't. Again, you shouldn't retire without health insurance, but I love it when I hear people going into retirement fully checked out. Go get your teeth checked, your eyes checked, a physical, whatever you need to do. Just try to make sure that your body is in the best physical shape that it can be in as you approach retirement. Don't wait till after. Try to get all of that set up before you retire. Even if you need to join a gym or buy a bicycle or a treadmill or weights or hire a nutritionist, let's double down on that health, because the last thing I want to hear about, Cory, is somebody working for 30 or 40 years
Yeah.
and they have ignored their health because they've been focused on their career and their family, and they put their health on the back burner. Now is the time to buy your health. Like, you can't buy health, but invest in your health. Like, you come in on investing. So I would buy that exercise equipment, gym membership,
Totally.
go see your doctors, get your body in good shape so that you can prepare, because you have to remember retirement is exciting, but it's also stressful. And so if you're going to go through this major life transition, you're going to need a healthy body
That's right.
to handle it, And so you're not 20 years old anymore, typically, when you retire. So it's like moving out of your house and going to college or whatever, or getting married. This is different. And let's get that body as healthy as we possibly can. Invest and spend money on your health. The budget on your health should be close to unlimited. As long as, like, I don't want you to buy 10 treadmills if you're not going to use them. But like,
Right. Yeah.
if you're gonna spend money on something, you should be spending it on your health, right?
Yes.
So again, I
Absolutely.
like what you started with, professional help with your finances and your estate plan and your taxes, and then let's make sure you're really spending money. If you got to get a Fitbit or a Whoop, I wear a Whoop, or a ring, get it. Let's start tracking
Yes.
that health, and let's start spending money on that. That's a good thing to buy before you retire.
Right. And I think, Jake, if you spend money on that and you're paying attention to it, I think that's what helps your health improve, right? You start making the
Yes.
changes that you need to.
Oh, yeah. I would argue, and again, just a personal, I'm not endorsing any of them, because I'm always seek medical advice from your health professional, right? That's a good disclosure for compliance.
Yeah,
But
not
like,
Upticks. That's good.
you're right. With the Whoop, Cory, it's been awesome, because I track my sleep, and then I track how active I am during the day. And then I even have, like, I'm not a big journaling guy, but like, it does have a log.
Mm-hmm.
And I log if I ate enough fruits and vegetables or drank enough water, right? I log that stuff every day. So it's bringing attention to that every day, which is awesome. So
Let me ask you a question, Jake, real quick, just
Sure.
because we're on this. You just said you're not a big journaling guy. Why,
I'm not.
why not? You feel like you don't need to? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I'm just curious.
I think that's a level of consciousness that I haven't embraced. I don't know. I absolutely think I could benefit from it. Maybe I don't like to write.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't like to type about my feelings. Maybe I'm a typical guy. I don't like to reflect.
Yeah.
I feel like journaling is a little rear view mirror looking, and maybe that's why I haven't done it. I don't know why I haven't done it.
Okay. I was just curious.
So no. I think it's obviously there's a lot of successful people that do that. I just something I haven't embraced. Doesn't mean I won't ever. You could say I'm journaling now when I type in how many cups of water I'm drinking, but I don't think that counts.
That's a good
either,
point.
Or drink.
Well,
But,
the reason I asked, Jake, is because because I do a lot of journaling, but it helps me to sort of clarify and crystallize my thoughts. But my observation is that I need to do that to clarify and crystallize my thoughts. But my observation is that you don't always need to do that, which is not a bad thing. It's just an observation.
I think I get clarity from deep breathing techniques and meditation. It helps me more than journaling at this point. Now, again, it doesn't mean it'll always be that way, but that's where it is today. All right, good.
I also think all these things help people in retirement.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, absolutely. All right, Cory. So number one, invest in financial professionals. Number two, invest in or spend money on your health. What's number three?
What do you think about this, Jake? A home office setup in some capacity. Does it need to be crazy expensive? But I think that a lot of people, and I'm certainly one, and I think, Jake, you might be too, but I've worked with many clients that are the same way. Technology stuff that they use while they work is all work issued, laptops, email addresses, all of that stuff. But sort of going from using technology and devices and everything else every day to not using them as much, oftentimes for people in retirement. I think that just like quite literally, Jake, having a reliable computer, a way that you can scan documents, a way that you can print documents, a way that you can shred
That's a
documents
good point.
without spending a bunch of money on it is something that's very useful for people to have in their home in retirement, because I think those are things that people find that they used quite a bit at work while they were still working.
I like that one, actually, Cory. I thought it was kind of random when you brought it up, but I kind of like it. I mean, you're right. You can't do everything on your phone.
That's right.
You can do a lot on your phone.
You can
but
do a
yeah,
lot.
go buy yourself a cheap laptop and maybe a printer, right?
Yeah.
A lot of
you
these
don't
printers
have to spend a lot of money.
No, you don't. You don't have to spend. But yeah, you're right. So you're not suggesting turning your kid's bedroom into a full out office.
Right.
No. You're just saying have the media available to you so that you are not helpless. If you need, like, what if one of your doctors has a portal and it's harder to view on your phone, or you need to download or scan, like you said, to scan something. It's good to have
share
that
documents with
your
accountant or those professionals that you hired before you retire, right?
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
And another good tip somebody told me the other day is that also it's a good practice to start using a personal email as you approach retirement. So good news is emails are pretty much free, but like me, everything goes through my work email. Like if I was getting ready to retire, I would need to flip that so that I don't miss out on contact. So get all your contact information switched over. Start using your personal email and not your company email. If you do get a chance to use your company email, get that transition from a business operation, because your family is a business. Like, you know, your life is, you're running a business. Get all that set up so that when you unplug, when you turn in that laptop, right? If you have a company laptop or a company phone, that transition is as seamless as possible. There is going to be a little bumpy probably if you're used to doing everything on your work computer, but make sure you've got all that set up. Good one, Cory. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll take a quick time out before I go into number 4 about a quick commercial. So again, thank everyone out there for tuning into Upticks. Our subscriber count continues to grow. Please like, 5-star, thumbs up. The whole point of Upticks is to enhance financial literacy. So again, thank you for everyone out there. So that's what I just want to say is thank you to our audience, Cory. Do you have anything else quick on our commercial break here?
I do. Yes. While we're on the commercial break, Jake, I think you and I both are sharing a lot more beyond what we're talking about here on Upticks. So I think that on Instagram and Facebook and on social media. So I think, Jake, for people to follow you and I know your handle is at Jake_Falcon_CRPC.
There you go.
Got
nice.
It. All right. Mine is at Cory Bittner KC. We're sharing a lot more. Obviously, we do this once a week. We enjoy doing this and sharing it, but we find that I think, Jake, you and I both like sharing the wisdom and helping people get prepared. And the same way that we talk about on Upticks is what we're talking about almost every day on Instagram. So if you are watching or listening and you like what you're hearing, go follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, thank you, Cory. Good point. Yeah, we're very active on both those platforms, or on Instagram, basically. Okay, good. So let's go into number 4, Cory. So number 4 would be if you're planning on borrowing money from a major purchase. Maybe you're going to downsize, but you want to get a mortgage. Maybe you're going to go buy a car. Something that requires some sort of bank financing. It is far easier to get a loan when you have a W-2 paycheck versus when you're living off your brokerage account, for example. And so if you're going to go borrow money, if you're going to make a major purchase, I would argue to do that before you retire. Just the underwriting and all of the logistics is so much easier. Believe it or not, Cory, you could have $10 million and all of that being a brokerage, and it might be very difficult to get a loan for a mortgage. I mean, I know the mortgage lenders will say, no, we can do it. And they probably can, but I'm just saying it's more difficult. It's not as easy. It's just like, oh, send me your W-2 or, your tax forms and proof of income from working 30 years or what, So again, if you're going to make a major purchase, again, as long as your financial plan can afford to make those payments and you need to borrow money, I would argue get that underwriting, get that stuff done before you retire. Even if you're going to get a credit card, right? If you're going to pull out another credit card or something,
that's true.
Apply for that stuff before you retire, just so that it's that much easier, because you don't want to have to go with those headaches. So, you have thoughts on this one?
I do. Yeah. Let's just go a little bit further. For someone that's one side of it, right? If someone's looking to buy a new home, for example, but let's talk about the other piece, Jake, that I'm sure you and I know that I talk about all the time is I need to pay off the mortgage before I retire. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
The other side of buying the house.
Yeah. I think that has to do more with the psychology of money. So again, that's important. Obviously, I don't want to dismiss the psychology of money, but for us, what we try to do is do what the numbers say. So I would encourage anyone that's thinking that to first meet with their financial planner and say, okay, I want to pay off my house. Run a scenario of me paying off my house and run a scenario of me making these payments, and which one is better, and give me the pros and cons of each. So you have to weigh that. But I think this concept of going debt free into retirement is from people in the Depression era
Hmm.
and under different circumstances where leverage wasn't as much of a tool. And so I just want to caution people that if that's where what is ingrained into your psyche, I don't want to dismiss it. I want to acknowledge that, but I would encourage you to look at the math before you make any decisions. At least like, okay, you're telling me the math isn't as good, and these are the pros and cons. I still want to do it, then fine. Right. Then albeit as long as all I really care about is that the client's financial plan works. That's all I
Yep.
care about. Really. It
Yep.
doesn't
That's good.
matter to me. Like I just want what is going to make the client the most realistic expectation for the client, all understanding that we're dealing with unknowns. Like we don't know what the market's going to do. We don't know how much money the client's going to need. Like we don't know all these things. Life changes.
Right.
But I would just encourage people to not think they have to go into retirement debt free necessarily.
That's good. That's good.
So
But I think the whole idea of, things you need to buy before you retire, it's also maybe the things that you do or don't need to buy. And I
sure.
think that's what we're talking about here. One is, do I need to pay off the mortgage? But I also think, Jake, while we're on the same concept or the idea of debt here, in retirement, I think that if you have debt beyond the mortgage or beyond a car payment, it's really good to get under control what your spending looks like so you can really plan accordingly. Because I do think that, I've met with so many people that have just reached the point in their life where buying more stuff is not what gives them satisfaction. And I think that a lot of us and a lot of people sort of go on that journey at their own pace, and where they maybe come to the realization that more stuff isn't what they necessarily need to be happy. My point is, if you are buying things now, right, or particularly if people are buying things on a credit card, if they're floating debt from month to month, like that's something that you don't want to buy much before retirement until you get that under control, so you know what you really need to retire comfortably.
Interesting. Yeah. So
In my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. Many of our clients are downsizing, getting rid of stuff. They have too much crap,
Yes.
as they call it.
You're
Right.
right. Yes.
So that's a good one. Yeah. Don't feel like you need to overload and start buying a bunch of stuff that you may or may not need. I would take an inventory then
Agreed.
of your
Absolutely.
household items, of all your household items, and say, are we overloaded here? Like, do we have
Right.
too much stuff? Do we really need all this stuff?
Yes, because I mean, it really is not just about retirement's not just about buying stuff and spending money. Like, of course, that's part of it, right? But part of working is buying stuff and spending money too. It's really a phase in life that you're trying to plan for.
Yeah. To me, as retirement is no longer trading your time doing something you don't want to do.
Right.
Some people could argue I'm retired
Right.
because I don't really trade my time. Like that's what you and I are really working at. Side note is like we're building Falcon Wealth Advisors so that you and I spend the most amount of time doing where we have the biggest impact and what we enjoy doing.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
what
we're not building this so we can stop it as soon as possible. Right.
Right. Not doing it. Or I'm not working. I didn't do this for 19 years to do something I don't want to do.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the whole reason we started Falcon Wealth Advisors, is that we could build this company the way we saw would best serve our clients. And then we can build a team to fill those roles that best serve our clients. And then you and I can do what's the biggest impact. And so sometimes I feel retired, like doing what I want to do. Like, I don't know what I would do if I wasn't doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
good. Well, it's maybe a good perspective too on being busy in retirement, because I think that we hear that all the time, right? People are, it's I'm busier than I've ever been.
why
I
do
don't
you
know
think
how I
that
had time to
is?
work.
Let's go. Why do you think that is?
I
Why do you think people get busier in retirement than they were before? I hear that all the time also.
On one hand, I would say, Jake, maybe it's because, well, in the example of, some people could consider you retired, right? If that's the case, Jake, you've got an awful lot going on in retirement. But
Yeah.
to that same point though, I think we grasp in some ways. It's not always grasping, but just the need that's ingrained to us that we need to fill our time with productive activities that may be checking boxes, but may not be that productive, or how many things that we do just because it's so habitual. right? Yet somebody in retirement, it's easier for people to say yes to things because they have more time available, but they really need to protect their own time too, right?
Yes.
Whether you're working or retired, you need to protect your own time and energy. So I think that's probably part of it, is that it's almost, some people might feel obligated to say yes to all kinds of stuff because they have the time, because they envision that's the stuff that they would be doing when they're not working anymore, but maybe not always asking the question of whether or not it's, serving them. For some people it is. I work with a client, Jake, that I love the way that she framed this to me a couple of years ago. Exactly like you've said, I'm not trading my time for money anymore. She's basically viewed retirement as like she's just redirecting her energy towards something other than work.
Oh,
But she's
nice.
not just
That's
dialing
true.
down the energy.
Right.
She's not just doing less. She's just applying what she's doing day to day to something other than her career.
Yeah, and we still got to get to number 5 because we've gone on a little tangent here.
We do.
But I want to share a tip because I think you and I have talked about this a lot, where we feel like we say yes to everybody all the time and we feel so stretched thin. And I would argue that can happen while you're quote unquote working or in retirement. So if you're feeling stretched, there's 2 tips I want to share to our audience that I use, that you and I have talked about and I use. One is, it's called a positive no. And the key here is you have to first say yes to yourself.
Yep.
Like, you have to commit to yourself. Like, if I want to eat healthy, exercise, meditate, decompress, watch my favorite TV show, you have to say yes to all of those things first.
Yep.
Before you can say yes to somebody else. So a positive no is saying yes to yourself first, and then no, saying no. You don't have to explain why, but you can say no to somebody because you're saying yes to yourself, and that's okay. That's completely okay, because you have to keep your sanity and your health.
That's right. You're the only person living your own life.
Right. You can't get so stretched thin that you're spent. And that happens to a lot of people. They burn out. And then they start living unhealthy lifestyles, and even extreme. That's why I think a lot of people use drugs and alcohol as self-medicating to cope with all this stretching so thin.
Numb.
Escape. Yeah, exactly. So that's one tip. And then the other one you and I have talked about, which has been a fun one, is to say, don't say yes unless it's on a scale of 1 to 10 and 8 or higher, as far as how excited you are about doing it. Mm-hmm. And a 7 you can't do. So because 7's easy to rate everything.
7 is easy.
So it has to be 8 or higher on a scale of 1 to 10. Am I excited about doing this ask, whatever? If it's an 8, 9, or 10, then the answer should be yes. If it's not, then the answer probably is no.
Right.
And again, these aren't, I don't want to say, if like you don't want to say no to your grandkids, right? Sure. Or whatever.
Well, sometimes you probably have to, but.
And maybe you do. And maybe that's okay, right? So again, I would just encourage, these are for people that feel like they are stretched thin, they're burned out, they always are pleasers, they're always doing stuff for other people and never taking care of themselves. Those are a couple tips that you and I incorporate, because we have to. The key with us, Cory, is that we need our energy levels high so that we can show up for our clients. So that when I am meeting with a client, if I'm meeting with a client, they don't want me exhausted and burned out and tired. Or if I'm going to lunch with a client, or if I'm playing golf with a client, they don't want me like so disheveled that it's like I'm not even there. They don't want me on my phone the whole time. You ever been with somebody that's always on their phone? It's like, why are you here with me now? And again, I don't care. I don't let my ego take over. But I chuckle to myself. It's like, man, how sad is this person that they can't be here now, that they feel like they always have to escape and be somewhere else.
Right.
So again, that's a person saying yes to too many things, in my opinion.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And a lot of times they don't even know. They don't even recognize what they're doing.
Yeah. Your presence can go a long way.
Yes. All right, good. Cory, do you have number 5?
What do you think number 5 is, Jake? I have an idea, but I want to hear what you've got.
No, I don't have one. I think we've covered the good ones. So give me 5. Maybe this is the best one.
Okay, maybe it is. I think a reliable, fuel-efficient vehicle.
Oh, okay. Well, I talked about loans, but you're just saying a car, regardless if you pay cash or borrow money. Why do you think that is something you need to buy before retirement?
So here's the deal. In my experience, there's a lot of people that as they plan for retirement or they make the transition into retirement, they think the car they're going to buy is one of the last cars they're ever going to buy. They also think that, maybe they should get the car, the truck, or whatever it is that they've always really wanted, and it's going to be the last one that they buy. My experience is that usually whatever car somebody buys before they retire is not the last one that they drive.
Yeah, hopefully.
And I also think that people that buy a $70, $80, $90, $100,000 vehicle right before they retire, they may come to find that it sits in their garage a whole lot more than they think, and they spend a whole lot more money on it every month than they think is really productive. So I just bring that up to the surface to say, I'm not trying to tell anybody to not buy the car of their dreams if it works for their financial plan. It's more just thinking about maybe challenging the conventional wisdom there, that like in retirement, you need a reliable vehicle that's going to be fuel efficient so you can get around. You don't necessarily need a $100,000 car. But I think it's all
Interesting.
relative.
I don't know. I don't like that one because I have clients that do that. They'll buy the Corvette, Corey.
Sure.
So
And
you're
if it
saying
all works in their financial plan, great. I guess I'm talking more, Jake, to the person that thinks I'm going to buy one last truck when I retire, and that's the last pickup truck that I'm ever going to buy.
so you're saying do or do not buy a car?
I'm saying buy a car, but be mindful of how much you spend on it, especially if you're borrowing money.
So don't think this is going to be the last car you're ever going to drive.
Yeah, that's maybe a better way to put it.
So someone might say, I'm going to buy a $150,000 truck, Corey, and I'm going to drive it forever. You're saying you shouldn't think about it that way. Okay, that makes more sense to me. You're saying that you're probably going to need another truck or a car
at some
or
point.
SUV. Yeah,
things change. Yeah, and
so you think you should still buy a car though before you retire, but just buy a practical, safe, your normal standard thing.
If you need to upgrade your vehicle, yes.
All right.
Yeah, not a great one.
I think it was
not
weak.
A great tip number 5. It was weak. But I think I do think it is. The reason I bring this up though, Jake, is because I've talked to clients in retirement or they're planning for retirement. It's like, I'm going to need a new vehicle. And it's like, well, you can't hardly get anything new for less than $75,000 these days.
Right.
Like, well, you can.
Yes.
It's just a matter of like what's important to you and where your dollars are going in retirement. That's my point.
Yeah. Good point there. It's a trade-off, right? So it's like you want this, like you said, you want this nice new. Do you want a $120,000 car when you could have bought a $70,000 car and then allocated that $50,000 towards something else? Is what you're getting at. So I think
exactly.
I think aligning your spending with your priorities is even more important as you approach retirement, probably than when you're working. Because you know what, if you buy too expensive of a car while you're working, you know what, you just work harder and pay it off and move on. But like retirement, no, you're eating into your nest egg because of this car. I think that's what you're getting. It's almost a do not. You almost have a number 5 is like a do not.
Yeah.
But I think the spending, I think a good recap for number 5 is just to make sure that your spending is aligned with your plan. Then you have crystal clear on what that is. So a quick recap to cycle through these is 1, buy professionals that are going to help guide you throughout this hopefully multi-decade retirement.
Yep.
Buy visits with your health providers and equipment, gym memberships, spend money on you, on your health. You were number 3.
The home office.
Yes.
Home office setup.
Home office. Get yourself a computer, scanner, laptop. You don't have to spend a lot of money on it.
No.
Make yourself being self-sufficient though, that you can operate that way if you need to download or scan in documents. Number 4, I was saying if you plan on taking on a big loan, it's probably easier to do that when you while you're still working versus when you retire. And then the 5th one, I don't know, Corey, was kind of weak, but I'd say again, just make sure that your spending is whatever you spend on is aligned with your financial plan and your values and your purpose. Like it's kind of an all-encompassing one there, but I think that's an important one. Do you have another one, bonus one?
Yeah, I think that, beyond that, well, actually, I just want to expand on that one a little bit more, Jake, on point number 5. I mean, it's a matter of, does somebody want their dream vehicle in retirement, or does somebody want a reliable way to get from point A to point B?
Both, Corey.
That's fine. And if it works in your financial plan, great. I'm just challenging the conventional wisdom that I have picked up on, and I've learned from 15 years of meeting with people that, things like stuff is the stuff that people realize in retirement they don't need as much of. Whether it's homes, whether it's vehicles, whether it's jet skis, whether it's collectibles, it doesn't matter what it is. I think
line it up.
Yeah, line it up.
You're right, because it might be more about experiences at this point instead of stuff.
Yes.
So maybe you buy that family. A lot of people do this, Corey. They buy that family vacation. They take their whole family to Europe when they retire.
Right.
Or on a cruise or to Branson. I don't care.
Exactly.
That is far more impactful than getting, a lift kit on your truck.
Right. That's right.
Or whatever. So again, I like that, having it lined up, but spend money, just make sure that's lined up. And plan. We can't say that enough. As we wrap up, Corey, we saved our personal stuff towards the end. I'm wrapping up that show Severance. Wow. Pretty good stuff. I'm going to be glad when it's over, though. I've been watching a lot of TV by myself. Rachel didn't watch season 2 with me. And the golf game's getting better. I played last night, and I think I only lost 4 or 5 balls instead of 10.
That's good.
So, but it's getting a lot better. It's like basically I messed up, and I'm getting lessons from 2 different people. who have conflicting advice sometimes, but I've decided to merge them both into my own style, which I'm real excited about. Anything you got anything personally you want to share as we wrap
Okay,
up?
we just got Jake. The Upticks crowd knows this here. I've talked about the kitchen renovation that my wife and I are doing. We just got cabinets going in.
Nice.
So
What color are they?
we're coming up. The cabinets are going to be like a cream, like an off-white. And then we have
Okay.
walnut cabinets down below. So basically there's going to be walnut below the countertops and then painted cream above.
Oh, wow. Two-tone.
Two-tone.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Can't wait to see it. You have to share some pictures on Instagram. Go follow Cory on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Thank you, as always, for joining me, Cory. And thank you all for tuning in. We hope you have a great week. Yes.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, falconwealthadvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.